Today's heading is eclipses, and I'd like you to write both of those things there. Sometimes the sun is going to disappear for a short period of time during the day. That's called a solar eclipse. Sometimes the moon disappears for a short time. It's called a lunar eclipse. So write both of those things down there. Anything with solar means sun. Anything lunar means moon. How this works, you don't need to write this, is the moon is going to come between the sun and the earth, okay? So here we have the earth, there's the moon, the sun. The sun is much, much bigger, but the moon is much, much closer. So the moon is able to block out some or all of the sun. So it'll be the middle of the day, and all of a sudden the moon will just come across in between the sun and the moon, or in between the earth and the sun, and block it out for a few moments. So it'll go from middle of the day to almost completely dark out there. So that's a solar eclipse, when the moon blocks the sun. With a lunar eclipse, you don't need to write this, but the earth is going to come between the sun and the moon. Remember, the moon doesn't make its own light, but what's going to happen is the earth is going to cast a shadow on the moon back here. So that moon is going to enter the shadow, and we're going to go from seeing much of the moon to all of a sudden in that shadow. So the moon is hiding in the shadow. That is a lunar eclipse. So hopefully you know the two main differences between those. You don't need to write this, but possible origins from where the moon came from. One of these, and these are just theories, is that the moon is an asteroid that was sucked into orbit around the Earth. So there's an asteroid floating off into space. The moon sucked it into orbit, and it's been there ever since. Just like we put in the International Space Station or the Hubble telescope or any of those things, put it into orbit. Another is that the moon is a bunch of small meteoroids that were combined. Basically, over time, they collected, they banged into each other, stuck into each other, and made up the moon. And we won't worry about that. So that was it, pretty short.